I make them feel like I'm on a planet. My sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. My sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy.
In today's video, we're going to take a look at two Shawn Michaels matches that happened at In Your House shows in 1996. These matches were not televised, they didn't air on pay-per-view, and it wasn't until WWE released their Attitude Era Volume 3 DVD and Blu-ray that we finally got to see these bouts in their entirety. It's kind of funny how WWE decided to release these when DVDs and Blu-ray were getting less popular. Looking at the comments for my previous two videos on these unreleased matches, it looks like a lot of people didn't know that these kind of matches were available on home media at all, and indeed, I was the exact same. I love the 90s era of pro wrestling, and I was genuinely shocked to find out that loads of these once unreleased matches were made available to the public. Seeing rare Shawn Michaels matches from 1996 really is a treat though. It's one thing to put out house show matches or MSG matches featuring some of the best superstars of that era, but 1996 HBK matches in pay-per-view arenas filmed using the WWF's TV equipment is like finding a gold mine, for me anyway. So let's set the stage first and then check out the two matches, one from In Your House Buried Alive against Goldust, and another from In Your House It's Time against Mankind. Many would say when it comes to Shawn Michaels' first WWF run that 1996 was his best year in terms of match quality. When you think about it, Shawn's had good matches in every year he was active during the 90s, but HBK had quite a few memorable matches in 1996 just before and during his title run. Matches that spring to mind include the Good Friends Better Enemies encounter with Big Daddy Cool Diesel, the Mind Games match with Mick Foley, and I always enjoyed the Survivor Series 1996 match he had against Psycho Sid. Right up until that Sid match, Shawn Michaels served as the WWF's most popular superstar. In Madison Square Garden that night though, fans in New York let the WWF know that they were maybe getting a little tired of old HBK, but in saying that, the fans' displeasure didn't centre around Shawn's in-ring abilities, rather the whole white meat babyface thing just wasn't what the vast majority wanted to see anymore. Survivor Series 96 was maybe a bittersweet ending to Shawn's 1996 title run though. Many fans who concern themselves with the business side of wrestling see Shawn's run as a flop, seeing as he didn't draw big TV numbers. Yet there he was, putting on the best matches from bell to bell, better than anyone in any American wrestling company in 1996, you know. Anyway, the 1996 championship reign of Shawn Michaels is one that I personally look back at fondly because you were always guaranteed a good to great main event. And in the two matches we're going to watch today, we're going to see Shawn during the title run and then we'll see Shawn after the title run. When HBK lost the championship to Big Sid, he too felt his run had been a failure. Vince McMahon and other sources said that Shawn put the weight of the world on his shoulders when he became WWF champion, and he was determined to not only steal the show in every performance, but he wanted to draw more than the champions that came before him. WCW had also launched the New World Order storyline right in the middle of Shawn's title run, a storyline that created a lot of buzz. So fans were maybe paying a little more attention to the competition than what Shawn would have liked. I don't need to go into Shawn's well-documented personal issues around this time either, but those issues were definitely there in 1996. You've got this guy putting all this pressure on himself to turn the company's fortunes around, but that guy's also digging himself in a deep hole by being reckless when the cameras weren't rolling. So it kind of creates this amazing performer who's maybe also a little insecure. Shawn said his title run wasn't enjoyable at all. He spoke highly about a few matches, but generally speaking, he stressed himself out thanks to personal and professional issues that maybe could have been avoided with some clear thinking. And I bring this all up because you're going to notice a change in Michaels throughout these two matches. Losing the championship in late 1996 didn't relieve HBK of any of this pressure, it seemed to make things even worse. The more public side of Shawn's downward spiral, I believe, was much more visible and maybe more obvious on the episodes of Raw that followed that Sid match. And seeing as the second match we're going to look at today takes place at the pay-per-view immediately following Survivor Series, you're going to notice a change in Shawn's overall demeanour. The first match we're going to look at took place at the pay-per-view 1 month before Survivor Series, so we really get to see the before and after effect of Shawn losing the championship, or the before and after effect of all that pressure. Alright, so In Your House Buried Alive took place on October 20th, 1996. The pay-per-view ended with The Undertaker vs Mankind Buried Alive match, but that wasn't the main event for fans in the arena. Shawn Michaels defended his WWF title against Goldust before fans headed home. And keep in mind too that Goldust also had a shot at Mark Merrill's IC title earlier in the night, so Goldust could have become a double champion at this pay-per-view, although that was never going to happen really, was it? HBK 2 was featured in the show earlier in the evening. He provided commentary for the Sid vs Vader #1 contender match, and he congratulated Sid for winning that bout. Fans who bought the show on pay-per-view would have just assumed that Michaels was left off the card, but now we can see HBK perform in the Market Square Arena when the pay-per-view feed ended for viewers at home. These kind of dark matches recorded at pay-per-views are so good because they maintain the production from earlier in the night. It's fascinating to me that WWF would record these matches while keeping their production staff in the truck even though the main show had finished. Makes you think they wanted to have these matches stored in the vault for future reference, and honestly, I'd love to find out what else they've got hidden away. There must be hundreds or even thousands of matches they've taped in perfect quality that we'll maybe never ever see. Anyway, enough of all that. Apologies, I tend to get sidetracked in these videos. Goldust comes to the ring first with Marlena. Shawn gets jumped by a plant during his entrance, maybe a bit unnecessary for a dark match, and then we get to see something that's pretty awesome. Goldust wants the production guys to play HBK's theme song again, and Goldust is going to dance and pose just like the Heartbreak Kid.
Just a sexy boy, I'm not your boy, toy.
Shawn's got this goofy look on his face as Goldust continues his performance, and you know, it's these little things that make these dark matches so fun to watch. Goldust pretending to be Michael should have been something that made it to TV. The bell rings, HBK slides under Goldust before walking along his back. Goldust then gets thrown to the outside and Michaels has a few words with Marlena, and HBK then starts running laps around the ring while Goldust gets his act together. Earl Hebner tells Shawn to knock it off and Shawn walks back to his corner. Remember, these matches aren't for TV, so you do get random silliness like this. Goldust directs Shawn's attention to his nether region. Shawn slides under Goldust's legs, and Goldust gets tripped up at the apron before getting floored with a right hand. Shawn comes back in with a double axe handle that fails to end the match, and when the two men go to the corner, Goldust takes advantage of HBK's clean break and Michaels ends up taking a slap across the face. To repay Goldust, HBK grabs his gold balls and the crowd pops. It looks painful, that's for sure. Shawn even reaches out for Earl's little referee, but he has no luck. HBK throws Goldust into the ropes, but the Bizarre One drops down and Shawn gets smacked across the face again. The WWF champion then oversells a clothesline and he ends up on the outside, and HBK takes another interesting bump on the apron, resulting in him falling face first on the protective mats. Watch this next part very carefully though. This fan with the Undertaker shirt tells Goldust to drop Shawn on the guardrail. Goldust is happy to oblige, but Shawn ends up spitting in the fan's face after taking the bump. What a nice guy. Goldust suplexes HBK back inside the ring, and there you go, a rarely seen chinlock. HBK fights out, but he finds himself in a sleeper hold. It gets brought all the way down to the mat, and the fans are now going to chant Shawn's name and try to bring him back into the match. Marlena watches on as Goldust keeps the hold locked in, but eventually HBK fights his way out and Goldust takes a back suplex. When both men get up though, they end up colliding into each other, and Earl Hebner begins counting to 10. We then go into the final moments of the match. Shawn blocks a few right hands before performing his running forearm in a kip-up. Goldust goes down after a back body drop, and we then see HBK's signature elbow drop. The WWF champion warms up the band for Sweet Chin music, but Goldust avoids contact and Shawn gets clotheslined. After failing to put HBK after a pin attempt, Goldust, he pretty much shoves his nose up Shawn's hoop, not even joking. He gets right up there. Shawn then gets punched in the face for not wiping before coming down for his match, and Goldust wants to end it with a curtain call. HBK counters, he gives Goldust a big old kiss, and Goldust is absolutely smitten. He can't believe he just got a kiss from the Heartbreak Kid, and he also can't believe that HBK would super kick him immediately afterwards to win the match. Shawn wins via pinfall. Goldust gets out of the ring and Shawn has a little fun before the fans start filing out of the arena. He runs around in circles again, only to stop when Jose Lothario tells him to. He waves goodbye to the audience, and then he takes a big run up to dive out of the ring, but he stops short and he gets out normally. It's very good. It isn't a pay-per-view caliber WWF title defense, but it is a whole lot of fun. Goldust and Shawn worked quite a few matches together in 1996, with a lot of their matches taking place at house shows, so they knew each other quite well inside the ring. In my opinion, this match right here would have been great to see on Monday Night Raw or even WWF Superstars as a little exhibition match. And yes, I know there is a Goldust vs Shawn Michaels match on Raw around this era, but it's got a completely different layout. As a matter of fact, I think this dark match is better than the Raw match. So the next month, Shawn loses the belt at Survivor Series. The pay-per-view after that, In Your House, It's Time, takes place on the 15th of December in West Palm Beach, Florida, and you do expect a lot from this dark match when you learn who Shawn wrestled on this evening. It's Mankind, Mick Foley. Remember, these two had what many consider the best WWF match of the year at In Your House Mind Games, so this is a pretty big rematch at another In Your House event. You then need to stop for a moment and get your expectations in check. This is an untelevised match. There's no way these two were going to go as hard as what they did back in September, but it's still a pretty interesting matchup that hopefully will still be very entertaining. Again, this was the final match before fans left the arena. There was another dark match before this one, Steve Austin vs Goldust. So if you attended this show in December 1996, the Bret vs Sid match was actually third from last. Shawn again appeared earlier in the show to commentate during the WWF title bout, and he inadvertently cost Bret Hart the WWF title. Mankind also appeared during the Undertaker vs Executioner match, but he was taken away in a straitjacket. So yeah, the fact that HBK and Mankind worked another match at the end of this card is pretty fascinating when you consider what went down during the pay-per-view feed. Mankind comes to the ring first along with Paul Bearer, and remember that fun-loving HBK from Buried Alive? Yeah, he's gone. Shawn looks pretty tired, and for some reason, he's drinking from a cup and spitting water over his armpits. I have no idea why, and I don't even think Shawn knew why. But yeah, those pits needed cool down, it seems. You could argue that Bret Hart attacked Shawn Michaels after the main event, and that's why HBK's carrying himself like this, and that's fair enough. But it does seem like HBK wants to get this one over with ASAP. There's no posing in the ring, he attacks Foley on the apron and the match begins on the outside. Mankind gets his head banged off the announce table and Shawn uses a cushioned chair to hit Foley across the back. Mick takes another right hand before the competitors get inside the ropes, and Michaels beats Foley in the corner before stepping out onto the apron to kick Foley in the head. Shawn then grabs Mankind's foot, but he ends up taking a clothesline. Foley then gets a chance to lay in a few corner strikes, and Mick performs a baseball slide that sends the Heartbreak Kid to the outside once again. Shawn takes a bump at the ring steps, Foley then bites the Heartbreak Kid's forehead. The two get back inside where Mankind chokes Michaels at the ropes, and I gotta point out here that there's absolutely no crowd reaction at all. Maybe the fans were a little tired after sitting through the whole pay-per-view, but at Buried Alive the audience were still pumped up when it was time for the final match. In Your House It's Time wasn't a great show, so maybe the fans are feeling like Michaels and they just want to go home. Mankind hits his running corner knee strike and HBK needs to take some time to regroup. When he gets to his feet, Foley goes for the mandible claw, but Shawn's able to keep Foley's fingers out of his mouth and we see a back suplex. The two then exchange punches with Shawn getting the better of Mick, and then HBK pulls off the running forearm. After the kip up, Shawn walks straight into a mandible claw, and this one's going to stay locked in for a pretty long time. The two competitors fall out of the ring, and to break the hold, Shawn runs Mankind into the ring post. The ring steps come into play with Shawn on offense. We get a rare instance of Mankind screaming an obscenity when he gets his finger smacked off the steel for the second time, and when the match gets back inside the ropes, Shawn performs a double axe handle on a weakened Mick Foley. We then see HBK's elbow drop. Again, there's not much of a crowd reaction here, and the match comes to a very abrupt end when Paul Bearer gets on the apron while holding the urn. Shawn grabs Paul passes the urn to Mankind, but HBK's too quick and Mick Foley gets hit with sweet chin music. HBK again wins via pinfall. There's no goofing around or entertaining crowd celebration here. Shawn picks up a few roses that fans threw into the ring and he sticks them in his mouth, and that's it over. Out of those two matches, I definitely think the Goldust one was way better, and I also think if you're a Michaels fan or a Goldust fan, then you really need to check that one out. I've used the word a few times, but the best way to describe it is fun. It's just a fun match. I want to say the Mankind match at its time was a disappointment, but again, you gotta remember, these matches weren't made for TV. You really got to keep your expectations in order when watching matches like this, and it's more of a bonus if it turns out good. You can tell though that second match felt like an obligation. It's kinda like, get out there, do the job as advertised locally, get the match over with, and head to the back. But again, the only people who can really get annoyed with that are the people who attended the event, and not us watching a match that wasn't designed to be viewed at home. Both guys still performed. It looked like Mankind took a few nasty bumps when at the ring post and ring steps, but if you're expecting Mind Games 2, which you shouldn't be, but if that's what you're expecting, then you're going to be disappointed. The performance side of Shawn Michaels feels absent here. Everything he does in the ring is still good, there's just not enough of it. Thanks very much for watching another one of these unreleased match videos, and I hope you're enjoying them as much as I am. It kind of feels like we're getting more out of the past, and that's the kind of stuff I love, so I'm having a blast with these videos. For the next unreleased video, I want you guys to choose which match or matches I look at. I'm going to put up a poll on my community page, so check out the channel and vote on which match you want to see covered. The choices are as follows: The Undertaker vs Mankind at In Your House Good Friends Better Enemies. That one sounds interesting because it's another chapter in the excellent Taker vs Foley rivalry. Another choice is Stone Cold Steve Austin vs Shawn Michaels, another 1996 title defense for the Heartbreak Kid. In this one, we get to see Austin trying to make HBK laugh by wearing Bret's wrist tape and bringing a fork to the ring for a wrestling match, among other things. Maybe though you don't want to see that, and instead you'd want to see two matches where Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels team up. HBK and Bret versus Jacob and Eli Blue, plus HBK and Bret versus Jerry Lawler and Hakushi. The final choice is another tag team match, a WrestleMania 9 rematch featuring Money Inc. taking on the Mega Maniacs. That one's fascinating because it takes place the day after Hogan's King of the Ring 1993 match with Yokozuna. So let me know which one you want to see next, and don't worry if your choice doesn't get selected because I'm pretty sure I'll get around to covering all these matches eventually. Each one's pretty interesting in their own right. But again, thank you very much for watching, I do appreciate it, and take care. Today's Hall of Famers are Adam Germain and Rob Bankston. Rob introduced Adam to the channel, so it's pretty cool to hear that the channel spread from word of mouth. Johnny Supreme and Adam C. Thompson also signed up as Hall of Famers, so a big shout out to all these guys for helping the channel out, and a big thanks to everyone else who checked out the Patreon page.